Hello!
Good morning.
Special Monday Live.
Good morning. It's the afternoon.
Afternoon Live. Mikey, Ryan, myself. Some of you may know Ian's away. He just had a little baby girl yesterday?
Yeah.
Saturday? Whatever?
Saturday.
One of those days. So congratulations to him, obviously, and he's taking some well-needed, well-deserved time. So you're stuck with these guys for now, which I hope is okay.
Well, I don't know.
Sorry.
Should we apologize?
No, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out how good of a job we end up doing, but here we are.
Let's do it.
Excited to answer some questions.
Golf on the weekend, boys. Did you watch?
I did not watch.
What'd you think of that golf course, though? You seen that course?
Congress, yeah, it's
Yeah.
sick.
Course looked really good.
That'd be a place I'd like to play.
I watched the last like 4 holes and they were kind of just puking on themselves.
Yeah, it wasn't the sharpest of golf.
Yeah.
Very true. Yep, very, very true. But a really good looking course.
It looked
And
amazing.
US Open coming up.
Love it. Torrey, can't wait. Such a good track. You
Picks?
played Torrey?
I've never been. No. You?
Wait,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
the way Rom's going, I'm gonna just stick with him.
Rom, okay. Mikey?
I'd love to see Phil do it.
Can you imagine? Phil goes back to back in 2 majors.
Be insane.
He topped his own record, right? Oldest major winner. And he just do it again.
Yeah, and a Grand Slam for him.
I want to see Xander Schauffele.
That's a good pick. Home,
Whether he arm locks or not, we'll find out.
Yeah.
home state for him too.
Home state, yeah, he should be good on those greens and stuff like that. So that's my pick.
Love it.
Anything else going on before we get into some questions?
I'm just really excited to watch major golf again. It
I know,
feels so
it feels
close
like it's been a
before, and
while.
now it's back again. It's kind of like it's almost it doesn't feel too soon, but it does a little bit. But I'm just
That's
ready
pretty
to
quick.
get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, just before I forget, hopefully everyone can hear us okay. Obviously, we've been using this mic. Last week, everyone said it was good. I know there's 3 of us this week, so it may be a little bit less audible, but if it is and there's any issues, let me know and I will make some adjustments. And yeah, without further ado, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
I am wearing a hat. Yes, I am. I haven't had a haircut in like 6 months. Eventually you come to a choice. Are you gonna wear a hat or are you just gonna look homeless?
I was very close, man. I was like, we would have sandwiched him without a hat on today.
Yeah, I was doing the home haircut thing for a while. I just can't do it anymore. I just can't.
No.
It breaks my spirit. Can't do it now. I'm gonna be holding out until it's actually legal to get a haircut again. All right, from H, the letter H. Boys, good technical question to start with. Is there a weight range for iron heads that is most likely to play around D1 or D1 plus? I play mid-sized grips, and a lot of the times the swing weights end up in the high C's. So heavier grip lightens the head weight often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of irons do you guys find that are on the heavier end?
Anything like, Mura's generally heavy. Right now, some of the Strixon stuff that we have in the drawer is
Okay.
exceptionally heavy. Is
that right, eh?
It's awesome.
Great.
So it's nice to see that. There's some Mizuno stuff you can get that's a little bit heavier. Again, all depends on the length they're playing as well. But I would say those 3 models I would say are going to give you that swing weight, no problem.
If they're talking weight range, I would say if 270, 269, 270 is like D1 with a standard grip, 275, 276
75,
almost.
76,
Depends on the size of the grip and obviously the shaft weight and a lot of other factors, but you're going to have to be north of say 274 before you start getting into that D plus range with a mid-size.
You're talking about gram weight of the actual
Gram
head.
weight.
Yeah,
itself.
like the actual weight, and that's a big part of being able to just make sure everything's sorted properly when you build a set.
Gotcha. Freddie says Phil is guaranteed to win. Okay. I don't know how much money you're putting on that,
Is he
Freddie.
picking stocks too? I'd love to.
Yeah, he probably should. He probably should. This is just a follow-up. I'm saying maybe certain brands weigh heavier than most in regards to head weight. Yeah, you guys
Definitely.
have found that,
Yeah,
right? Like there's certain brands that definitely weigh a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The big one is always because of a lot of the Japanese spec stuff, because a lot of their club standard length are built shorter. So
Yeah.
when we
Okay,
when
so
we
it has
build
to be
them-
heavier.
Yeah, so when we build the North American standard length of
Yeah.
like 37-inch 7-iron, that's where you see that slight lightening of some of the heads, but in some cases they just leave them exactly the same weight when they bring them over here.
Scooch in a bit, Mikey. Or talk louder up
Too
to
far
you.
away. I apologize.
It is early, folks. Sort of. Feels early.
Just yell, Mike.
Just yell. Someone's rooting for Max Homa for the U.S. Open. It's a dark
Bad
horse
pick.
pick. Dark horse pick.
Cali
Long.
boy.
He's long.
He hits it good, though,
Yeah.
doesn't he? All right, this is a good shaft question. Speaking of which, the shaft wall has been restored. You may have
Yes.
noticed. Ryan was just doing that seconds ago, just for everyone's viewing pleasure. Any suggestions for light, stiff shafts? So someone that plays a stiff doesn't want to go 100 and, 20, 30 grams plus. What are the light Steel. Let's stick with steel. What do you guys like in that range?
Light stiff. I mean, you could go Modus 105X is a good option.
Modus 105X.
Yeah, it's a good option.
I was thinking you could hard step some of the Acura ice steel.
Okay, yeah.
That's one there. You could stick with a lighter weight. Another option would be, I was gonna say Nippon or even like the True Temper 105.
Yeah.
Again,
True Temper 105.
depending on how many like clubs you're playing up, if you're playing all the way into the longer irons, it may be a little more difficult. But if you're starting at a 5 iron, it's a little bit easier. You could hard step and it wouldn't be too much of an issue.
Gotcha. Okay, hopefully that helps. I'm not sure what this means. Maybe you guys will know. 7 iron swing speed for
Steel fiber,
steel fiber.
95
Okay.
eye.
So if someone wants to play steel fiber 95 eyes, what would you like to see? I know you guys usually do 6 iron swing speed. Maybe you can do that.
Well, I guess, is there a flex though?
No, but you can assume.
Oh,
I
okay,
guess,
yeah.
right? A 95 gram, you're generally what would be a regular or stiff kind of thing. You're not generally putting someone into an X in 95 grams.
No, yeah, just for tempo purposes, really.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's depending on flex. Your steel fiber is a funny one too because you can go parallel and play those a little different. So you could be right in borderline stiff or regular.
I always say the high 80s or the mid to high 80s is always like the cutoff point depending on someone's tempo.
Yeah.
Mid to
For
high
most
80s.
shafts,
Gotcha.
really.
Gotcha.
If you're lower than that with a quicker tempo, you might go up. If you're right around that range but you're smoother tempo, then you probably go back down. So there's a lot of different factors involved. So
Love it. No, that's a good little roundup though. Okay, from John. John is asking, how does the TSI 3 fairway wood compare to others with it being the only one with adjustable weights this year? Okay, interesting. So the TSI 2 does not. Do you think it can keep up? I think that means Sim 2, TI. Initial test, I thought it was probably as quick, but what have you guys found? Have you done some hitting with that new Sim 2?
Yeah, I mean we over lockdown I've hit it. It's nice.
Yeah.
I think Sim 2 just being a little bit more forgiving, taking the weight back and having that V-sole a little bit deeper for those trouble shots is going to be a little bit easier. TSI 3 to me is the tiniest fairway wood.
It's a small head, isn't it? Yeah, it's a small head. I think it would be cool in like a 5 wood or like, I don't know how many more lofts they make, but yeah, you're right. In the 3 wood, it looks like you better strike that little kind of section in the middle. You're kind of screwed.
off the middle, I think they're probably really close. I play the TSI 3 and I really like it just because I get a lot of fairway wood shots in the rough, so it helps having that like slightly smaller shape.
Yeah, just to kind of get out of the turf a bit
Same
quicker.
with the 5 wood. The 5 wood's really compact, so it's kind of in and out pretty quickly. But for me, I think on the misses, because of the multi-material, I think the Sim 2 might be just a little bit longer and faster around as soon as you start missing a bit. But once the TSI 3 is dialed in, I think they're probably really close off the middle.
Yeah.
And the adjustable weight thing is pretty helpful too, I guess, if someone needs that. For John, if you need adjustable weights, that's probably the good choice, but otherwise Sim should help. All right, from this particular person, noticing a consistent heel strike in the driver. It's looking like help me. Could it be length, lie angle, weight? What do you notice in fittings? It's a good question. So if someone comes in, and this must be really common, like someone's hammering the heel over and over and over again, where do you start? Like, what do you start to do to try to move that strike away from that?
I mean, personally, in a fit, we'll take a look at setup and swing and stuff like that. Pull up data and see what their path's all about and where that strike is and how we can make small adjustments with the swing. Again, I'm not a teacher, but over the years you figure out ways to continue a fit and help that customer. And then generally I would say yes, it comes down to probably length and then weight.
But generally somebody who is a little steeper.
Yeah, if you're
a little over the top, will hit the heel.
Yeah.
Heel kind of leads in a lot of times. I know for me, when I start missing, I miss towards the heel. I haven't hit the toe of a driver in a long time. It feels
I wish I could say the same.
So a lot of times that length will really help someone. And then
head weight help at times, like if you get a heavier club in their hand or heavier shaft.
Heavier can kind of like a lot of times can help people
Slot
drop
it?
in a little bit easier. Yeah. But almost similar to an iron, if you change the length a little bit, you can really work around with impact zone.
So
that's what I. If you just choke up, if the first thing you want to try is choking up on a longer driver to just see if you can move that impact zone, that's the easiest thing to do.
Try that first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good suggestions there. Lots to work on. From Bradley. Bradley said, "Had a local pro tell me that he couldn't order T100s for me. Said he got an email that they were no longer fulfilling orders. Wow, for T100 or T100S. Stock, I'm assuming they got none.
Yeah, I mean his pro's not wrong.
I mean, I'm sure his pro would sell it to him if he could.
Yeah, we get the same emails weekly, and yes, T100, T100S
It's just
slim pickings.
Is it a back order to the point of being like, don't bother at this point?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. We will start to see photos of that stuff and maybe some testing of that stuff in probably, I would say, I mean, I'd be surprised. They love a U.S. Open sneak peek, so...
someone might be playing it.
Maybe.
The new stuff. That's obviously what we're talking about.
They
If you're
sneaked
wondering.
it a couple of weeks ago. They had like a
Did
picture of Spieth on the range. You couldn't see it, but you could see his
yeah,
face.
yeah.
He was looking at... All you saw
Eyes
was
were lighting
grooves,
up.
which is obviously not very
No, that's
telltale.
not very revealing.
But
Okay. Well, that might be why then. Obviously,
Yeah.
if they're refreshing the range. Look in the secondhand market, then I guess Bradley, that's as good as you can do right now.
I know a lot of times the only other place is where you get it would be like full retail, where they already have stits in stock.
Yeah.
But even then, a lot of places don't carry a lot of stock like that.
Here's a little unusual question we don't usually take. What do you guys like for a walking shoe? You guys walk on the course?
I walk, yeah.
Yep.
Ryan, what do you like?
True Links all day, every day.
True Links, 'kay.
Honestly.
Yep.
I mean, I got a whole bunch of shoes. I got Echoes, I got FootJoys, but for me, when it's dry, because a lot of the stuff that I wear is, I generally play in the afternoon sometimes.
Yeah.
Is True Links wear, and I'm actually wearing them right
He's
now.
wearing them right now, folks. Mikey?
G4.
Yeah.
The 4 Plus is really good. It's like the...
That's the leather one? Leather top?
yeah, it's like the meshy one that you had, those white ones, but they're now like a waterproof
Yep,
version.
I
I've been
like
wearing those all year, and I've got the Galvanters and the street shoes. I think they're so comfy, the comfiest shoe out there. So
Yeah.
You
Good
load it
stuff.
up.
yeah.
I've got a couple pair of Nikes, a couple pair of Adidas. I like those too. I like
Nike
those too.
makes a good show.
Yeah, Nike's walking shoes. I got those Roche ones, Roche
yeah.
Gs. I've seen a bunch of guys wearing those on tour lately. I didn't even know
Yeah.
they made them anymore. It must
No,
be a
me
new model.
neither.
Gotta get myself a fresh set of them. Okay. This is a question I didn't think I'd ever see. Can fitting help with over compressing iron? So it used to be a sweeper, but now hit very down on the ball with hands. This sounds like me also. Hands very far ahead. Was thinking ZX7 as an option. What do you do for that person? Do they need more loft?
Yeah, when they get super steel, I mean, I'd love to hit down on the ball.
I
but,
know. But it's for this person. I can
ideally,
see how it makes it an
ideally,
issue.
yeah, something a little bit with more loft will help. You know, Ian and I have had this conversation multiple times. You know, the better fits are the people who strike down on the ball, but there is
Yeah.
a fine line between like 6 down and about 9.5 down.
And then it's like, it's no good anymore.
And then they're taking divots out of my mat. So,
you got to replace the
so
mat.
yeah, a little bit more loft, and again, there's little things that we can see from Foresight that potentially make a few little adjustments. Again, not necessarily all swing, but making those adjustments can definitely.
What
help.
kind of an iron design? I mean, ZX7's a little bit on the stronger side, so that's probably not it. What would you say? Would you go blades? Like, would you go with something that's a little bit less
Yeah.
kind of poppy?
Yeah, you could go Titleist. Even 620 CB would be a good
CB,
one. That one's such a sleeper. No one ever gets fit. Like, people get fit for it.
Is
but
it because
like
it's so small? Like, it's very compact.
small, and it hasn't really changed in the last 5-6 years.
That's fair enough. Very fair.
But it's a great iron, so that's potentially a good option.
Okay.
Combo set of those or something.
I think when it comes to someone who is steeper, you have to worry about sole width.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're fast and they're steep, they're obviously it's going to get into the turf no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the most important things is if you can take an iron and bend it weaker, like kind of like that Titleist there, for example.
Yeah.
Or any other like forged cavity back, you can start to really dial it back, because at the end of the day, the number that's on the sole of an iron is just representative to how far you're going to hit it. You're really worried about loft and your dynamics at impact. So with the longest iron, if you're really strong and you're really de-lofting a golf club, if the longest iron you carry is a 6 iron, and you hit it 200 yards,
It's true. Then maybe
right?
that's the
all
set you
need.
should have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
good point. Very good point. Okay, this is one we've seen a few times with Ping's heads being on the heavier side. I didn't know it went to the fairways as well, but any swing weight concerns with a Ventus red and a 425 LST fairway? Can you think of any? Would that be heavy? Would that be really heavy?
Yeah, their fairwood's definitely a couple grams heavier than the average guy out there.
Not as much so as the driver is.
Yeah, the
okay.
driver's heavy.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to. This is all to you, Mike. I haven't built one of these yet.
Swing weight concerns with Ventus red. I mean, if it's playing, let's call it 3-wood, 43 inches. Tour velvet grip. You're still around D4.5.
Okay, so maybe a little heavy, but not
fraction
crazy.
heavier than what I would say like a, put a TaylorMade against it or a Titleist.
And maybe a thicker grip or something might help
Yeah.
balance
Yeah.
that out. Okay, good. And this is a good question. So if you've bought an aftermarket shaft, which are not cheap, can you change out driver tips from, say you had a TaylorMade tip on there and you wanted to put a Callaway on, or once they're on there, are they toast?
No, I mean, If it's pulled properly and built properly, you could do it. I say max 2 times.
Okay.
There's times where someone's already got it pulled somewhere else and it gets really thin, and I don't want it to break on from my doing. So I would say max 2 times. Go to a proper builder. You will play around with length. TaylorMade to Callaway. TaylorMade to Callaway, you might gain a bit of length if I'm correct on that one.
It's the biggest measurement that often people overlook and they don't realize when they're doing this is bottom board to ground measurement. So it's in literally the bottom of the board where the shaft meets to where the measured length is. So on a TaylorMade, it's shorter. On a Callaway, it's much longer. So if you go from a TaylorMade driver to a Callaway driver, you're going to gain length.
Yes.
Or if you go from a Ping to a Callaway, you're going to gain length. But if you go from a Callaway to almost anything else, because their adapters are noticeably longer, you're going to lose length. So if you start with a 45-inch driver, you give it to a builder, they put that in a Ping driver or a Cobra driver, something like that, all of a sudden your 45-inch driver becomes 44 and a half.
And do you have any option at that point?
Other than an extension, there's nothing you can really do. And I'm not.
I always like to ask you. It's like, are extensions? You spent $600 on a shaft. Should you be putting an extension in, or are you really just going, I might as well not use this?
If you're driving a supercar, would you want to have a tire that you've plugged because it got a nail in it? Right?
Definitely not.
That's kind of how I look.
Okay,
I mean,
fair
it
enough.
works, right? But
It's functional, but not going to perform the way you want. Okay, that's fair.
You've added length. Potentially, if you've got a lot of speed, you create a weak point, especially if we're talking thin-walled graphite. So it's possible, but as like proper building, I don't like doing it.
Probably.
Yeah.
If it's a putter, 5 inches, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if it's a graphite shaft, I don't really like doing it.
Different animal there. Okay. Scott is asking about new Titleist irons. Scott, we don't really know much about them yet, bud. It's all just kind of hearsay and conjecture and
I don't know.
spy
I know
photos.
nothing.
Have you seen anything?
I haven't seen anything, but
Okay.
I know things.
Okay.
You've been told?
Yeah.
You didn't, oh.
Well, Scott got fit for T200 irons. I think you'll probably still be happy with them. I think it was a good set of irons, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the big. I always tell people, like, if you're always waiting for like the next thing, kind of. I think you mentioned.
Yeah, we
last
were
week,
talking
the
about it
week
last
before,
week. Ian was saying that too. Like more like 5 years.
Yeah,
Look
yeah,
at it.
5
Like
years,
and
yeah.
every refresh. And Titleist is better. I know it's every 2 years, but you would drive yourself crazy. Like if I'm going to try to refresh a $2,000 set of irons every 2 years, like
Yeah.
You're driving yourself nuts
You're driving
to
yourself
gain
nuts.
like, and even then you might not even be gaining any performance based on.
no,
what
it
you're
might
looking
just
at.
be like a fun factor thing or
Yeah.
an aesthetics thing, right?
I know lots of people do that anyway, so if
Yeah.
it's just for fun. But if you're really more focused on performance, it's not something I'd worry too much about.
No, totally. Okay, a little bit of chatter. We were talking about irons in there. Here's a good question. Chris cut down his driver shaft 1/2 inch, and he has a mid-sized grip. He needs to add 6 to 8 grams to his Sim 2. If I change the front TPS weight from 4 to 10 grams. Okay, so he's doing it for swing weight. Do you think that will also decrease spin and launch? Take that one. I'm just going to get some water, boys.
Yeah. If you're gonna add that to the front of the, where's TPS weight? Yeah, Sim.
It's right near the front of the.
Right in the
bottom
front.
there.
Yeah, it will definitely decrease spin for sure.
Yeah. Anytime you move weight forward in the head, you're going to reduce the deflection.
Yeah.
So you're going to keep loft lower, dynamic loft lower at impact, and that's going to equal lower spin. So anytime you're messing with weight, even though they have a weight already there, once you're adding to an area of the head, especially a very specific area of the head, where there's obviously like some housing and some other stuff going on in there, you're gonna naturally lower the spin.
Probably not a ton, you would say? Maybe just subtly?
Yeah, I mean, if it could be that, if that extra weight or that length maybe is changing strike point, then at that point you could see a
good
big
point.
improvement, or you could see no improvement, depending if someone's already struck it really well.
Makes sense. Okay, from Freddie. Freddie wants to know the difference between a Fuji Pro 150. We're talking iron shafts, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Fuji Pro 115X or the MMT, one of those two weights in the TX. Big difference, question mark?
Pro 115X and the MMT 105 TX, very close to being similar. I play 105 TX. I've soft step mine, but
okay.
I play 105 TX, and I've used the Fuji Pro 115 before. That's a great comparison. I would say they're very close. Now the 115X from Fuji is raw weight's a couple grams heavier than 105 TX, so I would say it's still closer to 105 TX than 125.
The MMTs only come in the taper though, right? As well, is that another thing?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taper only. Okay, from John. John spins his 7-iron around 5,500 with a TP5, 91 miles an hour on the swing. Okay, Mizuno MMCs with Tour 130X. Felt like the ball ballooned. It still seems low. Okay, a lot going on there, John. I would say, one, if your 7-iron spins at 5,500, it's not ballooning.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
actually quite low.
Kill for 5,500 with a 7-iron.
Yeah, that's definitely not ballooning. I don't know, maybe you're thinking that the initial launch is high, John, and the ball flight looks high.
What's the?
I will say
He's got a Tour
It's
one.
the MMC. Okay.
I'm assuming he's
Yeah.
got KBS Tour 130X in there.
The MMC, I played them last year. Yes, they definitely did go higher.
They elevate the ball quite a bit.
To where, like, don't get me wrong, I like to play my loft like 1 degree strong. Everyone needs a bit of distance.
Yeah,
but
why not?
they just, anytime I went on the range, I would hit them and I'd be thinking where I need to look at it, and then I'd have to look about 10 feet higher. So
And chances are him changing the shaft is not going to change that ball flight much.
Not
It's more
really.
the head design that's doing it
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing that is always really important with the fitting is the descent angle. If your descent, and like if you're playing 130X, I'm guessing there's definitely some serious club head speed there. Then, the faster you get, into Matt's territory, or someone, you're always going to create height. Like height is something. Height, speed creates spin and height.
Yeah, makes
And
sense. The
so
ball
because-
speed, right?
Yeah, so you can't fight that. A great fitter once told me that it's a lot easier to make up come down than it is to make down go up. So if you
That
are,
makes sense, yeah.
there's Glenn at Titleist. I'll give him a shout out there. He's a TPI. He knows his stuff.
There you go.
He gave me that tip, and he's always stuck with me because I know a lot of people worry about hitting it too high, whereas in reality, it's a lot easier to flight it down than it is to try and hit something you hit too low and get it up in the air.
Well said. Okay, this is a question we get asked a lot. Boys, give us your thoughts here. So someone wants to go get an iron fitting, but they probably can sense they need a lesson as well. Would you rather see them go work on their swing for a while, get some lessons, and then come in for your fit? Does it make sense to come in for the fit, see where you are, and then make a decision from there? What do you like to see?
I mean, I'm always going to say lesson over fit.
Okay.
Even guys and girls who haven't been playing much over the winter, obviously with lockdown and stuff, would say, go play a couple rounds or go hit the range a couple times just to get a feel for it rather than coming in cold turkey. Sometimes an iron fit can turn into a little bit of a lesson.
True.
Again, all our guys, myself included, know enough about the swing that we can help a little bit.
Yeah.
To extend the fitting and get you the right clubs. But I would say get a little, tweak lesson before you come in and, be confident. There's, we don't want you to be nervous in here or worry about hitting bad shots or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Trying to
So
hit
I think
perfect.
that lesson just kind of helps break that barrier.
I think that's fair
Yeah,
enough.
if you're concerned, do the lesson. You want to you always want to be able to come into a fitting confident in what you're trying to achieve. And if you feel like you're not making good swings, then you're probably not going to end making good swings. Versus even if you go into a lesson, they're going to a fitting, get a lesson. Now that of course you're unsure on the other side of things, right? And now you kind of wasted that time.
That's true.
With the
Yeah,
potential
you're trying to
fitting.
sit there doing drills and you're trying
Yeah.
to do your fit. Yeah, yeah.
And that's
You're
what
not
it means.
wasting our time.
No, that's not what I
You're
mean.
wasting your own time.
You're wasting
Yeah.
your own time, yeah. Yep, fair enough. All right. Someone currently playing P760s. Looking to get new iron. P760 was like the progressive set, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
great iron.
Looking to get new irons. What would be 3 different irons you would suggest I try out? Ryan, you go first.
Well, if you like the TaylorMade, I'd try the 770s, the new ones. That gives you you could build yourself a myriad of combo sets with
Yeah,
the
you could.
700 series. So that would be like a first one. Another combo set would be a Strixon. You got the X5s, X7s would be a great way to kind of blend those two. And then, I'm going to say it.
I know what you're gonna say.
Would be, MP20s
Okay, yeah.
or the Forged. I mean, you can build a lot of different combo sets that way. Even with paint. I had this question the other day on Instagram, and honestly, you can go to any manufacturer and build yourself a wicked combo set.
That's
So it just
true.
comes down to what you prefer and kind of what your swing dynamics are.
Mikey, any suggestions? Anything
Yeah,
you like?
T100, T100S was great.
Yep.
Again, I had this question last night. Hanma TR20 VNP.
Yes.
Even throwing TR21B in there if you wanted to. I think those don't get enough light.
That's a sick iron. That's really good.
TC201.
For the premium side.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. If you don't mind spending a little bit, yes. Mira TC201s. Mighty sexy. Okay, here we go. I'm glad you guys are here for this one. This is sharpest leading edge and narrowest sole for irons in the market today. So let's go with ones that are actually being produced in the last few years, maybe not something from 30 years ago.
Yep.
Sharpest leading edge and narrowest sole for the 0.01% of people that want that. What do you like?
I mean, if you want something really sharp, you try to find an old set of National Custom Works. They'll custom make anything you want.
True.
Because this is not something where anyone's really making.
Yeah, no one
to
wants
be
a
honest.
sharp leading edge, do they?
No, the only way you're going to get this is if you take an iron and you just bend it strong. You're going to add a little bit of offset and you're just going to lower that leading edge. That's where you're going to get something that's going to be a little diggy.
With those new TaylorMade, to me, those TaylorMade blades, the new MBs, I think that sole was about as narrow as anything I've ever seen.
Yeah. If you took the T-dubs, the TaylorMades.
Oh yeah, true.
And those to me are probably one of like the sharper options.
Okay.
Because no one's really doing them like to that extreme.
Yeah.
Because those are retro, basically, right? Those are like a retro iron, but
Yeah,
they're new.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some like really old like Hogan's and especially the Hogan stuff. Like that leading edge is straight across.
Yeah.
And
You just dig in immediately.
Yeah.
Touch the turf, you're gone. So.
I like to play. If I'm going to play, I'll go out in the summertime and use them when it's nice and dry, and I know they're not going to dig. But there's no chance I'm using them in the spring because they're just going to go plunk.
Yeah, straight into the ground.
Yeah.
Interesting question, Cayman. I don't think too many people would have asked that, but hopefully we helped you out
It's
with that.
just a hard find, really.
Yeah.
Probably better off going like generations old and getting something old. Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for sure.
From Paul. Paul's asking. Paul, you got the right guy here. Paul is playing MP60s. He upgraded from MP30s. He's a decent ball striker. Would upgrading to a more modern iron increase my length with the iron? So we're talking distance. What do you think? Ryan, Mizuno expert, what do you think?
I mean, this applies to any iron. This is not a Mizuno specific question, but I mean, obviously that's what they're playing now. But in reality, like anything that's got a slightly stronger loft, potentially a faster face, and a lower center of gravity, you're going to get more distance with them. And the biggest thing is, even if you're looking at stronger lofts, is also noticing, which I mentioned earlier, is that angle of descent. If your peak height is higher and they're carrying further and you're working within a manageable spin window, you can pick up a club extra. It's going to be easier to hit at a shorter length, right? Like a 6 iron versus a 7 iron, or 7 iron versus 6 iron. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that gives you more control going into greens. So there's always potential. It just depends on really what you're looking for. If your number one goal is to get more distance, you're definitely going to find it compared to those irons.
It seems like there's no way you couldn't get more distance compared to those.
Yeah.
Like anything would go further than those, pretty much.
Yeah, like anything like that is a single piece forged, great iron, great looking iron, but distance is not his main goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough. Okay. The Corey kills me every week. Soon for you, just for you, Corey. Soon enough. Maybe we'll have you two.
What's in the bag?
What's in the bag? I think everyone knows what's in my bag by now.
Depends what bag. I've got probably 2.
I was going to ask, do I have to do a weekly one?
Well, then maybe that would be, you could have a weekly series if you guys are doing it, sure. Okay, great. What do we got here? Can we remove the mic from the video, Christian? No, because then you wouldn't be able to hear us. So I'm very sorry that it's annoying you, but it is what it is.
Unless they're talking about me.
No, this mic, I won't remove him, and no, he's not annoying. So no. Interesting. Okay. DJ's asking, just talking about angle of attack earlier. What are some tips to help a shallow iron player get steeper? I can think of a drill that
one's you, because I'm dying to get steeper.
I'm just gonna think of the drill that Ian told me, and that I think he told you as well.
Go ahead.
The towel thing, no?
The towel one's good, yeah.
So the best thing, and this is all Ian, he basically said, take your towel, player's towel, probably put it, start with like a 9 iron, probably an 8 iron. I would say place it maybe 8 to 10 inches behind the golf ball on the range. Just lay it kind of like horizontally, golf ball in front of it, and just try to make swings not hammering the towel. And it's just going to naturally make you steepen. Now, I'm making this motion. I don't mean it's going to make you stab into the ground, but it's going to hopefully help you, I guess, maintain your angle just a little bit longer, bring the club in a little bit steeper, whereas you're used to kind of sweeping it. That would be my favorite one. Ryan, you got anything that you...
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have that, or like I've seen people do it with. I've literally seen people do the same drill with a live board.
You can do it with a live board too.
Yep. It's a little louder.
It's
if you happen
definitely
to
louder.
come in a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like, it really is probably the most. It's the easiest. Anytime I'm thinking of like a drill, I want it to be easy, and if possible, I don't want to have to go out and buy anything.
And
That's where
totally.
just
Just
laying a
use a
towel
towel.
down is super simple.
One thing that Ian's been working on with me is just opening up and just try to hit cuts all day long.
That definitely helps.
And to be honest with you, the
helps.
last few weeks has been probably some of the best ball striking personally I've had, just trying to hit cuts. Now, the only scary thing is the grip does influence a left.
Okay.
So when
So
you're
if you
aiming
double cross it-
left and you hit it left, see a ball.
Oh boy, yeah, I did that a few times the other day myself.
Goes a long way though, right?
Too long.
The double cross, yeah.
Yeah.
Goes for miles. I think this might be a follow-up. Really like my ZX7s, but I do not seem to spin them enough. Fair enough. They're already 2 degrees weak, and he plays the BXS. Any other irons that look similar? Obviously, looking for more spin. That's a tough one. I mean, they are a lower spinning iron.
Definitely.
Even at the same loft, I would say.
Yeah.
But where do you go from there? I mean, if you might need to play an even higher spinning ball.
Higher
like
spinning ball, Mizuno ball.
you might want to check out a Mizuno ball.
Snell spin like crazy.
Which one? The
MTBX or MTB. Can't remember. Fraz and I were testing some
Their
stuff,
website
but
will
yeah.
tell you. The higher spinning MTB would be good. But yeah, the Mizuno ball spins like crazy. I think they're still making it, aren't they?
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, but spin is just one factor of ball flight. That's the thing that I think people sometimes get hung up on, that, especially with the driver and other clubs like that. It comes down to angle of descent. If you launch some of those stronger lofted irons or up in the air, and you're getting your angle of descent and it's stopping within a certain area, then spin is less of a factor, but it always helps.
And this may be a situation where he's looking at it on a launch monitor, comparing it to a TrackMan chart, and going, "Oh, I'm not spinning enough," and that's totally fair enough. But I would say, in order to a 2 degree weak version of that, if you're not spinning enough, you're gonna have to start getting pretty extreme. And I don't know if you want to go down that road. You know what I mean? That
There's gonna be a lot of changes that you're gonna make. Just if you're just trying to manipulate the golf club, there's gonna be a lot going on.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to make a lot of adjustments. But good question. Some good internal chatter. I like this. Everyone's chatting with each other. Kyle wants to know, Ryan, have you ever met the Mizuno legend?
Oh, Turbo.
It is
Oh, the
Turbo.
guy who grinds the irons.
Okay.
I haven't met him. No, I've never been over to Japan. I know he kind of works in their custom department. There's two sides to them. They have like the Japanese office and the office in Atlanta, and I have not been over there. So
Dream bucket list?
I'd love to go to Japan just in general.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I know the food's really good.
I've definitely heard that as well. Hopefully in the future, Kyle. Hopefully
I'm
in
a
the
big
future.
food tourist. If it wasn't, not just forged irons, but I'd definitely be in on
No,
food
I know.
for sure.
Half of what I do on vacation is eat stuff. That's a good question here. Scott, hypothetically, if I only had time and money for one fitting session,
Okay.
what would it be for? Putter, wedges, irons, driver, golf ball. What do you like? Give me your top 3. Mikey, you first. In
What do you
order.
struggle with the most?
Okay, good question.
Putter, wedges.
Love it. So maybe that means irons.
Yeah.
Okay, or maybe it
Yeah.
means fairway wood.
Definitely.
Okay, good. What do you think?
I'm actually in the exact same boat
Yeah,
with this.
I think it's a good
because
answer.
I think if you think about how many shots you take, the putter fitting, I haven't done it in a while.
Same.
You would probably see, but like for players who are coming in and like that's a huge place where you can pick up shot or help pick up a lot of shots around the greens, especially with just getting proper alignment, getting the right loft. That's where I've seen like revolutionary changes in a putter fitting, whereas in an iron fitting you're trying to help someone swing. In the case of a putter, you can create a lot of adjustments that are easy to implement into someone's game
With the
pretty
exact same stroke, like you don't really have to adjust
Yeah.
anything.
The thing with the putter fit, you use the putter on every hole unless you get a hole-in-one or chip in, right?
Right.
So get something that you know is working 100% for you that you're going to use, like I said, every hole.
And then the next one from that is wedges,
Yeah.
which is
And
why,
then wedges,
why
yeah,
it's
you
always
have how
really
many chip
important.
shots are you gonna hit? Yeah, how many greens are you gonna hit in a round? Even if you're a really good player, it's,
Not many.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I'm with you, Mike.
I hit about 2 the other day, so yeah, the wedges are pretty damn important. Okay, Jimmy. Favorite player's iron for a shallow angle of attack. So he wants to try something like an I-210. I guess he's worried about the bounce and maybe the wider sole width on that. Shallow angle of attack for a player's iron.
He answered his question though. I was going to answer that. So you should power spec.
Power
it.
spec
Yeah.
it
Yeah, that
to
to me
take
is
some
like
bounce off.
an easy way
serious.
to take that down. And those irons launch really well either way. So that'd be a good place. That'd be a perfect place to start.
Okay. Jimmy, I think you're on the right track by the sounds of it.
The power specking and the retro specking of the pings is like pretty underrated.
Yeah, I think it's a really good feature. I remember when that first came out, I thought that's really smart. Because people don't consider that. They just go, unless you come somewhere like this where you would mention it, like you guys would say, oh no, you can bend your T100S's weak and we can do this for you. Most people would just be like, well.
And there's a lot of camber on the ping sole too, so they really designed it to work both ways.
Okay. Yeah, good point. Okay, Dave.
Mr. Dave.
Hello, Dave. Dave wants to know any benefits of Sim 2 5-wood over the M5 5-wood, which is now 2 generations older. Sim felt quicker off the face. CG trajectory, thanks as always. Yeah, I mean the CG they did definitely move further back and low. I remember seeing that.
It's more forgiving.
Should be right.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to nitpick, it'd be picking dirt out of the sole of that golf club on the M5.
I remember that. Yeah.
Because especially with a 5-wood, if you get into the turf a little more, performance great, but like digging the grass out of the bottom of that club was a bit annoying. But if we're just talking performance, I think you're definitely gaining some additional forgiveness. That sole plug on those TaylorMades, like the Sim 2, like how much tungsten they put on the bottom of that thing.
It's wild.
It's nuts. So
it'll just come down, Dave, I guess, to the deal. I don't know if you already have an M5 or you're looking to pick up a used one. I mean, you're obviously a Sim 2 Fairway wood is about as expensive as a Fairway wood gets.
Yeah. And if it's the 5-wood versus the 3-wood, there's definitely a bigger difference in the 3-woods, I think.
Okay.
I mean, you
it's
get
ball
a
speed.
Sim 1, and I mean, you still get a lot of great performance.
But he should probably expect to hit the Sim 2 maybe a little higher trajectory.
Yes,
it sounds like it would get the ball in the air a little bit easier. Okay. Dave, hope that helps. This is a good question. People ask Ian this all the time. I never have an answer, but I'll ask you to.
I'll try my best.
Where do you think the next big thing will come in golf innovation? So drivers, I hear Sam here. I think drivers are kind of getting to the point where forgiveness is really the only thing that they're working on, which is still great. What do you think's going on? Like, what do you see? What's almost like your concept car idea? What's kind of the next goofy thing you think might start to become mainstream?
Are we talking just golf clubs here? Or are we talking like
go ball too?
Because I think the next step is going to be. I think it's kind of almost here, but it's not quite as the consumer launch monitor space.
Okay, that's
if we're talking about full technology.
Great answer, yeah.
Because that's people come to a place like this, and you're going to get everything you want out of a GC quad, like all of that information. And there are a lot of units now that are giving you close to the same amount of information. And for those gearheads who maybe already got a driver that you've been fit for, and you got irons that you've been fit for, and you want to work on your game, but you don't want to you don't have to book time, and the time of driving to a place where maybe has a launch monitor, your course doesn't have one. To me, that is still the space that is going to be the next step for the consumer, where it's going to help you maximize your equipment on your own terms, like once you've been fit. So you know you're getting dialed in.
I think it's a great answer.
Yeah, technology.
Agree, Mike?
Even like Arcos, right? I mean.
Yeah, Arcos was a big one, right? That was a pretty big step. That didn't exist. Nothing like that existed 10 years ago that I can think of.
Yeah, and I think what like the big benefit of that is, and I was someone who didn't have it for a long time, and I thought it might like slow down play if there was all these things involved. I got a link and I was hooked. Like
the link makes a huge difference.
That was it. Like I was on board. I've been on board, and I just the only thing is it shows me how terrible my iron game is.
Well, I mean, better to
the app is good too without even the sensors or anything like that. Like that caddy.
That's
app
a great
is
point.
So good.
Yes. Yeah. I play with a couple guys who use it on a regular basis, just for like obviously not competition rounds, but to get an idea of like. We have holes at Cedar Brae that don't even look uphill, but you look at the app and it's like, oh no, that's 7 yards uphill. It's crazy. And even like, I think a lot of people, myself included, have a hard time actually knowing what the wind's doing, because as much as it feels like wind swirls around, the weatherman can tell you it is fairly consistent direction-wise.
It's tough for you to pick that out.
And when it tells you that, I think it helps you learn it. Like obviously in a tournament you can't keep doing that, but I think if you develop that memory, it's very worthwhile.
And there's rangefinders now that are offering like information kind of similar to the Arcos app, like way more information as far as that. Really cool.
Are they like Wi-Fi connected kind of thing?
I don't know if I think it might be like hooked up to your phone, so you still there would be some type of connection there. But like it's going to give you like the more information you have, the better decisions you're going to make on the golf course. The better you're going to score.
Yeah, agreed, boys. That's a good question here from Tim. So Tim plays his ZX7 irons 1 degree flat and noticed the 4 and 5 iron leaking to the right. I think it's a very common question. Should I try to bump those 2 irons back to standard lie?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Easy.
Don't see why not, Tim. common, right?
Yeah.
Common, yeah.
Very common.
I th-
Start with standard, and then if it straightens it out, stick with it. If it doesn't, you can even go 1 degree upright.
People look at the specs on a website or like from any manufacturer, any OEM, and the biggest issue they do is they kind of get it stuck in their head. They're like, that's what it needs to be, or that's the progression that it needs to be. Whereas as soon as you get on a launch monitor, like I know Furyk was a good example for a long period of time, very progressive in his line goals.
Okay.
Like to see that because he liked to basically hit a fade a lot, right? So being able to help with that with his long irons, you can tweak them upright. I myself do that exact same thing.
Right.
Very flat in the short irons, and then as I get to my longer irons, they get a little bit more upright because I don't want them to go too far right.
Yeah, no, of course. Totally makes sense. Yep, Tim, you're on the right track. Quickly, here you go. For True Links, Ryan's a True Links fan. What model do you like?
Right now, I'm wearing the pure, I think it's the pure.
Okay.
I think it's the one that's like the minimal droop, no spike. I don't think any of them have spikes. I always need the widest one. I have really wide feet, so that's like that's a huge reason why I wear their shoes.
Oh, okay, so more comfortable for wide feet.
Yeah, but I've worn the major, and then I think it's called the OG. I'm terrible with the names of this stuff.
That's okay.
I just kind of know what like that's the one I want. But the all leather ones that are waterproof, I've used those I used full set last year and like no
good to
issues
go.
at all. Yeah,
Nice.
really like them.
All right. Shaft question. How does the hazardous smoke blue RDX compare in feel and design, or let's say performance, to the Ventus blue with the Velo core? So Ventus blue versus RDX smoke blue. I've hit both.
I was going to say,
You guys hit both?
I have not hit the smoke blue.
So
I have not either, yeah.
I personally think that the Ventus feels a little bit, I think it has a bit more feel to it. That's what I think. I found in terms of like dispersion and the way that the shaft suited my timing, and this is literally just me answering for myself, I found if you like a Ventus blue, I think you would also probably perform pretty well with the RDX blue as well. They don't feel the same though. It's been a while since I hit them. I want to say that in the same flex, the RDX is maybe stiffer in the handle or something.
Yeah. All Project X generally their butt sections are.
Okay, so maybe
quite
that's what I
large.
was feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Nicholas, I don't think you could go wrong either way. But the subtle differences in the feel, you'll probably just like one over the other. You might prefer the RDX. You might prefer that it's a little bit stiffer in the handle, but they're in the same ballpark. That's for sure. Excuse me. A good question here. So Ryan is asking about clubs for his wife. She's just under 5 foot, so junior clubs fit her better lengthwise than women's iron lengths. Does it feel weird to buy junior clubs for an adult? What are your thoughts? Okay, so what do you do in that situation? Is that okay?
Just go
Buy
for
the
it.
set that fits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do what's going to be best, and
because the junior heads, there's not really nothing different about the heads. They just suit the shaft length and the weight.
And yeah, so they've
Yeah.
reduced the weight on those heads to make them easier to hit. So for this player who like obviously his wife, that in that case, use what fits.
Right.
I've put it out before. Like there's no real such, especially a place like this, right? There's no such thing as women's clubs and men's clubs. There's
Yeah.
just golf clubs.
Yes.
There's golf clubs that are designed to fit the player. And if you kind of worry about those categories, a lot of times you're going to kind of stifle your decision making process.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was no names on golf clubs and you just went into a bay and looked at complete performance, and that's the set that the person ends up with, boom, you're
Good.
set. You're all set. And you know what? You're probably gonna save a bit of money if you're buying a
That's
junior
true.
set as well.
That's so true. Yeah, and there's less clubs in the set and everything. Yeah, you probably
Yeah.
save a bunch of money. Okay, great. Ryan, you're just fine with that decision, bud. I need a haircut. Ian's not here, and he doesn't need a haircut. I promise you.
yeah.
I
So
need one
that's
real
fine.
bad.
Yeah, you're definitely you're ready.
I
We're
know.
all ready here.
You're
I had
right.
a legal COVID cut.
I know. I just don't know anyone that would give me a little underground haircut. That's all. I literally was doing it
I'll
myself.
give you a
and
number after this.
Okay.
Guy's good.
He's a good guy. Okay. I might have to clean myself up. That's a good question.
Give us a toughie.
Well, this isn't the toughest.
This
Sorry.
one's good, though.
This is a good question. So someone who hasn't played for 10 years, he's trying to get back into the game, getting some lessons, doesn't want to have bad habits. He doesn't have clubs. Does he need to bring, like, this is a pretty unique situation, but, like, does someone really need to come in with their old set if they're starting from scratch, as far as I can tell?
I mean, if they're coming into, obviously he needs clubs, right? So he needs to purchase and he wants to start off on the right foot. We'll give you something to, start the fitting with. We'll build up a 6-iron and
Okay.
get you warmed up, give you a wedge, get you warmed up, and then we'll go into it. Obviously, we like to see what people are coming from, because
Yeah.
then we can figure out some, you know, issues that are in their set. But no, you don't have to come in with clubs.
Yeah. Especially if if you're coming in for the intention, yes, I'm going to buy clubs, then
Yeah.
come in.
Would you bring your old
it's okay.
suit to a suit fitting?
No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, I don't want this suit anymore. There's Bandit. Hello. Don't worry that you're late. We always forgive. Sometimes we're late. Often we're late. Actually, today we weren't, but pretty much always we're late otherwise.
See what happens when the boss isn't here? You're on time.
Oh boy, I hope he's not listening to that one. Andrew, how do shaft only fits work for someone who loves their irons but had a swing change? Now the shafts seem wrong. Or should you do a full refit? Great question. So someone loves their iron heads, but they've made some swing changes. They kind of want to keep the iron head. Doesn't seem like this is an impossible situation. Like, you may end up changing lie angles and stuff, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good, better, best scenario. Like, you guys would do this in a fit, right? Like, I'm like, I'd say haven't been in a fitting bay in a while, but you know, your irons could be good as they are right now.
yeah,
Better option could be taking those exact same irons, small tweaks, new shafts, and then the fitter is definitely going to give you the opportunity to try something else to see, and then the option comes down to you, right? Like, I get the question all the time, like, is this worth it?
right.
Now, if I had, if I was a billionaire, a yacht would be super worth it to me, right? But
Yes,
like,
it's all relative.
I'm not going to need a yacht. So if it's that scenario, the good, better, best to me is like, you know, you want to try, but you know, be open just to see what you potentially could gain.
Yeah, good point. So let the fitter give you a different iron head, hit a couple. If the performance is relatively close to your own with that new shaft, then maybe you just don't need to go that route.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Simon. Simon had a fitting with ping, and he was swinging horribly. Sorry to hear that, Simon. Slicing when his normal misses left. Good shots were amazing. This is very common. It's a great question. So would you suggest someone who comes in and they're hitting a ball flight that they're not used to, they'll tell you that I don't ever hit this shot, and it's obvious that that's the case? What do you think? Like, do you just be pretty open with them and be like, listen, today's not the day. Why don't you come back a different day?
Yeah, 100%. We do it quite often. Say, listen, you know, come back. There's no charge for a second fit. It's a little bit quicker session than last, because we've kind of dialed you in, and we'll start with that option. But yeah, it happens all the time. I think that just comes down from, you know, nerves.
Of course. Of course
You
it
know,
does.
a lot of people feel intimidated when they step into a bay, but
Yeah. And you feel like you have to have your best, or you're going to end up with something crap, and then you're going to spend
ideally
all your money.
that fitter's there to help you become a better player with that option. So you shouldn't feel nervous or intimidated.
Love
I
it.
think communication is always really important from a fitter's perspective, but if you are a customer in a fitting, don't leave thinking I should have asked that question.
Yeah.
Because as fitters, we've literally heard everything when
Yes.
it comes to questions, so don't be afraid to ask a question and speak what you feel, if you like or you don't like something.
Well said. Yeah, I think Ian says that all the time. Cayman, we got this one already. If you haven't heard it, hit rewind. We grabbed it. Bandit wants to know if there's any news. Yes, baby girl. Born Saturday night, right?
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah,
There you
3
go.
a.m. or something.
It's all good. He now has a boy and a girl. I'm sure you will hear from him on Bandit. I know you're not an Instagram guy, but we will provide you with the update. Kyle, I haven't used the Playmate in a while. I loved it at the time. It's one of those things. I just kind of got away from it because there's a million other things we test and other things we do. I would definitely like to revisit it. My swing at the moment feels like a complete disaster, so that might be a good way to get back into it. And I think for a ton of people who get overly steep and their sequences are really off, probably for a few $100, that's probably some of the best money you can spend. I'm not saying lessons aren't worthwhile, but it's something you can work with on a regular basis. I've always thought that was a really good option. You guys do any work with that thing?
No.
You ever try it, Ryan?
I've actually really used very few training aids.
Not a training aid guy?
No, not generally. I mean, I like the speed idea one, but
Okay.
a lot of time I just go to the range and try and grind it out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Clearly it hasn't been effective based on my handicap.
There's always hope. There's always hope. Peter's asking about the Cobra Supernova. We haven't taken it on the course yet, Peter. No, not yet. I think Ian intends to, but obviously he's a bit busy at the moment, so maybe not. But in the future, yeah, I might try one of them on the course too. I like those a lot. Did you hit a couple putts with that?
I like Supernova's the big one, right?
It's
Like
the Fang one,
Fang
but it's
one?
got weights.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I
That
think
was good.
This is a good example of a putter where if someone struggles with alignment, perfect option. And I mean,
Yeah,
their style is something that is, I would say, fairly familiar
Yep.
when it comes to golf clubs. but that's
Yeah,
definitely
the head. It's totally fair. The head shapes are familiar, and the Cobra guy said that. Like we wanted to have heads that people are familiar with. You don't have to have something wacky. It's going to be the Spider-looking stuff and the Odyssey, Rossi-looking stuff, but the technology's different, and the face seems to work really well. I mean, we did that test, and I'm editing that video. I was like, it's like you could zoom in and see the exact line at which it was hit. It's cool. Like the technology does seem to actually work quite well. Paul, yes, we did, because I remember your thumbnail there, your Trevino thumbnail. So rewind until you see that up on the screen. I don't remember what your question was about, but I know we answered it. I'm gonna skip ahead a bit, make sure I didn't miss anyone super, but we don't have any news on Titleist stuff yet, guys. Only that it's coming.
Yep.
It is coming. Colton, can you explain steep versus shallow swings? How can I tell which one I am? Easiest way would be to get somewhere where you can get on a launch monitor. I would say most qualified PGA pros could watch you hit some balls and give you that feedback. Honestly, even a good player at your course who's knowledgeable about the swing. A lot of it would be to do with what your divots look like.
Yep.
If you never take a divot, you're probably pretty shallow. If you take enormous divots, you're probably pretty steep.
likelihood you're steep. Yeah.
I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but those would be the ways I would figure it out. You can literally dig it out of the dirt, or I would book yourself a little session at your local club, maybe spend an hour on a TrackMan, spend, whatever that costs and find out. Okay. What do you guys think of the Mizuno STZ driver?
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Looks
Are you
nice.
expecting it to do well in fits? Again, I think people have to remember we haven't been open, and no one's been fit to that here because no one's been fit, period.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and I'm still shocked at the price point of that and the Tour Edge and how good they are, and so that was my feedback. And obviously, like, I had some great results with it when we're doing the bracket, which is mostly for fun. I haven't played on the course, and fair enough. I don't know how it would be on the course for me, but you hit some with it?
It's right now it's my gamer driver, and it's.
Oh, you are playing it?
Yep.
Nice.
I've had it for over a month now.
Nice. Okay, Sean, you're in luck then. Here you go.
Yeah. So even before bracket is all that stuff. I've had it. I've been testing it, and it's the other driver that I'm using is the TSI 3.
Okay.
The big thing with the Z or Z is the
very Canadian of you. Thank you.
It has a lot of stability.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It is very, very stable.
It really is.
And for me, again, I do miss around the face, so that's why I do like it. So,
do you find it a little bit draw biased the way it sits, or is that purely the way that kind of the adapter
I haven't hit
sit?
a draw off the tee intentionally in years.
Okay, so you're liking that about it.
I
anyway.
like it. I've been kind of messing around with it a little bit. I always play it. I play it at a very low loft. I create a lot of dynamic loft.
Okay.
So
I'm not trying to pigeonhole it. I just found like with the way I saw it set up, and that's why I felt like I got comfortable with it, because I just kind of could hit the same shape over and over again.
Yeah. For me, when I've gone out and played, I just kind of aim down the left side and make my swing, and it does what I really want it to do.
Nice.
I find it very neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very adjustable. I'm definitely. Sean, it's a good driver, and honestly, for the price, can't go wrong. Alex, we did a video on Cobra's new putters. We thought they were really good, to be honest with you. I'm sure you'll see more about them. That probably won't be the last time we test them, but yeah, Ian and I did one 2 weeks ago, something like that. So take a look on the channel and hit on that video and take a little look. But we thought they were great. Speaking of Mizuno M-Craft putter, the 6 model, easily the best feeling putter I've ever used. Our pal Larry Chung was putting with a M-Craft.
Very nice.
He's hitting it good too. The Fang style one.
Oh yeah.
That's the best looking Fang style putter that I've ever
nice.
seen, because it's shorter heel to toe, right?
It's a little more compact, I think, right?
It looks good. Boy, does it look good. Yeah. We like. How much time we got here? 7 more minutes. Justice Adler is asking, I'm playing a G400 Max with a hazardous black 6.0. Okay, he's got the handcrafted, and I guess he tipped it, is what I'm assuming he means there. So assuming that this works really well for him, what 3-wood would you recommend? He is still playing his first ever off-the-shelf 3-wood. Okay, so what do we like for this person? Do you need to go ping still? Is there something that you think they might like in a different brand? Do you go with a similar shaft profile?
If someone's using the 400 Max and you're looking for a maximum forgiveness 3-wood, the first thing I would say, if you like that driver, work within the ecosystem. Next one you got to try is the Ping G425.
Gotcha.
That would be the easiest way to kind of, especially you're really comfortable with your own golf club. You're telling us that.
Yeah.
And then as far as the shafts is concerned, that really comes down to the fit. But if we're just talking models,
Yeah.
I think if you're very familiar, very comfortable with a certain brand, it's totally understandable and reasonable to think that you're going to get along really well with another club within that set.
At least as a starting point, right? Like,
Yeah.
you might go to the Ping demo day and go, I wasn't a big fan of that. Then sure, go try Callaway's and Titleist. But I hear what you're saying. Like, that is a natural progression for sure.
Yeah.
What else do you like that's like a really forgiving 3-wood?
I mean, that's Sim 2 Max is great.
That's a great one too.
I've played golf with a couple guys that magically got some in their bag, and they hit them great.
Yeah.
To where almost I ordered one for myself. I was like, geez,
Just like, what's
that's
going on there?
impressive. But yeah, Sim 2 Max is great. Again, another answer to this one, and it's a very generic answer, is like that scream go get fit at a brand agnostic place
Totally.
all day long.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's no guarantee that the driver's going to work well on a 3-wood version of it. So best case scenario, get yourself to a fitting.
For how big that Sim 2 Max is, it's pretty easy to off the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that right? Easy to
Yeah.
elevate? Yeah. Love it. Winner gets to shave the head of the loser. That is extreme, Dave.
I should just
Very
shave my
extreme.
head, then I'm going to lose.
I don't know. The way I'm playing right now, you could
Yeah.
probably beat me. You could probably beat me straight up any day.
Someone shows up on a video next to the bald head.
Listen, how about this?
It's a
I'll
teaser.
I'll pay for your tee times. I'll pay for the dinner after golf, and none of us shave our head because
That sounds great. We'll play for dinner. That sounds, you know what? Much more reasonable. Much less extreme.
yeah,
Sometimes the stakes can be too high, and we're just trying to have fun.
the only steaks we like are medium rare.
That's a great one. That is a great one. Ryan says he can never think of a question to ask, but thanks for the work. He self-fit his bag and have never played better. Great, Ryan.
Awesome.
I'm glad to hear it. Yep. Hopefully we answer enough questions on a weekly basis that if you have one in mind, it hopefully just comes up and it gives you what you need to know.
We're here to educate.
Yeah.
600 viewers right now. Get the thumbs up going.
I know. 84 likes and 600 viewers. It's a bit off. This is a good question and an easy one. Would you advise someone substitute a 3-wood instead with a 4-wood if they have consistently issues hitting that 3-wood? More loft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a
Yeah.
XR forward, XR Pro forward back in the day. It was
Oh, yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
The
that
thing
was a great
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a great little.
Um,
I played with a guy the other day that has. I'm pretty sure he has a. It's maybe if it's not XR, it might be another Callaway, but it is a 4-wood. He hits it great.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I think people focus too much when they think 3-wood. They think of like a specific loft, and
Yeah.
you really need to just focus on the gapping and the launch characteristics.
Yeah, I agree with that. Raj, I think we've all done this. Whether it's a call from someone or a work email or, I don't know, a sports update that you weren't hoping to see, and you lose your focus. It happens. Or you eat something at the turn and you forget your name and you blow the next shot into the woods. It happens.
pork missile gives you heartburn. Never works.
Exactly. Yeah, you eat a foot-long hot dog and now you can't walk anymore. Yeah. Okay. What time we got here? I'm going to take 2 more
There's Mr.
questions.
Fraser right there. Hello, boss.
There he is. Boss man,
Hello.
congrats again.
Yes.
He's a pop once more. Okay, I'm just going to make sure there's no... Oh, he's in there answering questions, for goodness sake.
Get some rest.
I know. Go to sleep.
Maybe he slept already. You must have slept already. But hey, keep going. Who are we to tell you what to do? Bob says he has a Cobra Fly Z driver. Okay, he can occasionally pop one over the 300-yard mark. Lovely. Would a newer driver help with accuracy and distance, or has not much changed? Okay, so Cobra Fly Z, boys, for your expertise, is how many years old?
6?
Yeah, 6 years old.
6,
at least
7?
5. Call it 5.
Is
Yeah.
it safe to say that a 6-year-old driver, I mean, chances are you're going to find something?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to find something. Going in, again, either test or get fit or whatever. But yeah, you'll see from technology over those years,
You should see something.
something will definitely help with accuracy.
Maybe not the dead center of the face, but like we talk about this all the time, but like the dead center of the face, maybe you'll hit a similar length drive, but the miss hit performance has come an awfully long way.
I'm trying to think of what the Fly Z one is. Did it have like
I'm
weight
trying to-
adjustability
Two
as
weights in
well?
the front, yeah.
It was? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
there's,
okay. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
one weight in the front, one weight in the back.
yeah, so you could, I mean, you could be finding that, exactly to your point, you might be hitting it like something newer, almost the same distance as your other one, but your dispersion with the newer one is just,
Yeah, tight.
And you need to get a bigger sample size. Like I've talked to people about that. They'll go like, well, this 5-year-old driver of mine, I can't hit anything better, so what's the point? And I think they're almost always going on like one shot. Well, look at that shot. But it's like, okay, but what about 50 shots? And what about a season? What about 2 seasons? So, Bob, I think you'd be safe to look at something new. Cobra's new drivers are really nice. And again, price point wise, they're in a good spot. So you don't have to go too nuts. And the stock shaft options, I think you guys would agree, are pretty damn good.
Yeah, great.
Love it. Okay, we're going to take one more question, guys. We've enjoyed the hour. Thank you so much.
thanks for tuning in.
Let's go. Sorry, Terry. I'm sorry. You're right. At least I
least
have
you have
hair. I wasn't really complaining about it. I was just
It
telling
always-
people why I'm wearing a hat because my hair is just gone crazy. That's the only reason I brought it up. Okay, last. Oh, here. You know what? We're going to end on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Need a video of
That'd be
Ian
fun.
fitting Ryan. Ugh. Does anyone
What-
want to
what-
see my swing that many times?
Yeah, I
on
used to
video?
say that all the time.
Yes. What do you have in the bag that you think needs the look? Pick one.
If I was to pick one, it'd probably be. I would just do a driver fit again.
Okay.
I'd be really curious to see. I know like it's the club that I mess around with a lot. Or to be honest, probably the thing that I'm going to learn the most from would be a long bag gapping. Like from my longest iron, I've kind of messed around with different long irons. I've got a U500 right now as the 4 iron, which is just a
Great
little
iron.
missile launcher. It's
Yeah, that
crazy.
thing's sweet.
But
Love
I've
that.
played a 7 wood in the past. I've got a 5 wood that's lofted up a little bit. I'm always messing with that area of my bag
'Kay.
because I'm not a really long hitter.
'Kay.
So to me, it's always something where going into those longer holes, especially par 3s, they kill me.
Well, if you would like to see a driver and/or long game fit for our own Ryan here in the near future, throw it in the comments. Not the chat, but throw it in the comments afterwards. I'm sure we'll get plenty of people. We are going to be fitting our friend Rob Coates in the near future, contest winner, probably in the next couple weeks. So that will probably be what you see in the, I guess, the next 2 to 3 weeks. This week, 3 of us are going to be reviewing a certain wedge
Yeah.
from
Exciting.
Cleveland,
Yeah.
the full face.
Full face.
Full face.
So that's coming up. You'll probably see that Wednesday or Thursday. That's going to be our episode for the week. And that's it,
Yeah.
Cool.
boys.
Podcast Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, what's
Tune
going
in.
on? Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah, we'll be talking Torrey Pines.
Nice.
We'll be talking we'll probably be answering, kind of elaborating on a lot of the questions we get here.
Good.
That's
Good.
the biggest thing with our show. Mike and I both do Q&As on Instagram, so you can follow us along there.
Love it.
RDS Brath.
Mike TXG.
Like
and then-
I
TXG.
saw that comment there, and it
And
just
then
got
from
to me.
that,
Which-
Bandits.
we do those questionnaires because the goal of our show
Yeah,
is
I
to talk golf, but also be able to go a little bit deeper into a lot of the subjects that are very often misconstrued when it comes to people talking with their friends or something like that. So
Love it.
Couple weeks, some cool guests.
a couple weeks, some
You got
cool
some guests coming
yeah,
up?
we
Good.
Some stuff. Yeah, it'll be
Well,
good.
Anything you want to tease?
Not right now.
Okay.
No, we'll leave it out there. We'll
Just
just
thought I'd
say,
ask.
but we're always working on bringing some different thoughts and different people into the show.
Love it.
There's a lot of smart people in golf.
There are quite a few smart people in golf. Okay. That's it for this week. Thanks for
Awesome.
tuning in. We will see you guys
you.
next
Thanks,
week.
guys.
Thank you.